Andrea begrüßen zu dürfen. Sie ist Spoken-Word-Künstlerin und wird sich jetzt selbst vorstellen. Also, ich bin Andrea, danke, dass ihr hier seid. Ich werde einen Text, das ich für heute geschrieben habe, vorlesen. Und heute ist ein sehr wichtiger Tag. Das werde ich im Laufe des Textes erklären. Ja, gut. Und das Text heißt How to Nail Small Talk on International Waters. Ich habe mir überlegt, das auf Deutsch zu schreiben, aber ich war nicht sicher genug und daher habe ich versucht, das auf Deutsch und auf Englisch mit ein paar deutsche Wörter geschrieben. Aber es geht um Berlin, daher gibt es viele, viele wichtige Referenzen, die mit der Stadt zu tun haben. Also.
So, you live in Berlin? How cool.
I didn't even know it was cool. I was in the middle of contrasting the image I had been given about the unity Europe was supposed to be. I was taking it all in, adding mental post-its to every single place and thing around me, as well as to people's reactions. Berlin? Cool, apparently. Berlin? Also not Germany. Noted. Thinking back on it, I sort of fulfilled some sort of its unwritten criteria. I was poor and sexy. Immer noch jung, knackig und voller Hoffnung. Groß und die Welt was still playing, and I was trying my very best to memorize it at normal German speed. Komm Baby, bitte mach dir nie mehr Sorgen, and it was a real struggle. I couldn't even say Fahrrad back then. To me, Berlin wasn't a synonym of a sought-after wonderland. I didn't think of myself as creative. I wasn't an IT genius. I still can't seem to figure out how to free space from my phone. But there is this thing when you arrive to Berlin in summer, this Funke with the city. And you wonder if you have been looking at it all wrong, because it feels safer to fall for a city than for a person. However, summer comes to an end, as we all know. Everything turns to yellow. And then the romanticizing starts. And the all too familiar disappointment. And the breaking up in winter. And we need to stay together for the thesis. This PhD is not going to write itself. And this toxic back and forth until spring. Sound familiar? Well, to all of us being born at latitudes made up of 12 constant light hours, Northern Europe feels exactly like that. Funny thing, since we arrived here looking for stability.
So, you live in Berlin. How cool.
So, after pressing my lips unconvincingly, I played along the interest of this new stranger's eyes. And we exchanged facts about the city, which don't really qualify as talking.
Where do you live?
In Wilmersdorf.
No, I don't know where it is.
And they wouldn't know where to locate my many, many, many different Zwischenmiete. Back then when they still existed, under 400 euros, and within the ring. Good old, non-speculative, ungentrified times.
Do you know this guy? He's a friend of my cousin's colleague's dog.
And to my nodding down, our little talk ran dry. And then the mandatory saying, yes, and looking sideways. For any other fun fact of the sort, aren't we humans just adorable? Children would simply say, okay, nothing to talk about, let's go out to play. But me, I would literally look at the floor, hands behind my back, and I would say the words, yep, awkward silence it is. This very brief scene that I just described was the official chapter 2 of How to Nail Small Talk on International Waters. One of a series of a story of my life saga that I plan on publishing someday. I cannot be the only person on earth preferring to jump into a heated debate about intersectionality than talking about the weather or commenting the 3-minute delay of the U-Bahn. Just give me something of a 6-month break from this jigsaw puzzle of Ausländerbehörde, Finanzamt, Krankenkasse, Hausverwaltung, and I will be undefeatable. So, to give you even more context, Chapter 1 would normally run on innocent but very piercing jokes after I have said the word Colombia. The thought to be business of my family, because we all, 48 million of us, are related to Pablo Escobar. Smuggling powder and the soul. I don't blame them. What can you expect from someone whose last name is Blanco? My ancestors didn't even give me a chance. And sometimes I think that they were not even given a chance when they were forced to adopting their indigenous sounding identity into something Spanish. I like thinking that my surname could have been something like White Cloudy Morning. But no, all that's left is Blanco. Way less poetic, but very more drugs suitable. After the jokes would come the normal disbelief at my never having watched Narcos. Me explaining, we are talking about events that took place around the same time of the fall of the Berlin Wall. Yeah, they decided to make it like a big seller in the last years, but we're talking about 1989, people. Me assuring then, yeah, it is safe to travel to Colombia, once you get off the mindset of this part of Europe. Or like I did, I entered the mindset of living here, under the privileged conditions of being an American immigrant. Very much on purpose, not using the word expat. Very much stressing the American one, for it's a rather large continent where Europe fits more than 5 times. And there's plenty of room within my country for 3 large Germanys, Mallorca included. Chapter 3 happens outside these temporary arrangements, when playing them back again in my head and feeling the reactivity and the boredom and anger and how come I care at people who, for the most part, were simply trying to be friendly. Chapter 3 happens in Colombia, when I get the same...
So you live in Berlin. How cool.
Plus the bonus track of...
Isn't it like really cold there?
This chapter continues when I am told by Colombian fellows that my accent sounds now funny. And I find myself at a loss to explain the word Steuerbescheide. It happens when I play stupid, and I ask them to explain their chauvinist, racist jokes, and they mistake their accountability for my nerve. When I'm found very opinionated for a woman, while woman not living there, which as we know is the one thing giving you the authority to have a say in things. Chapter 4 is what I make of this Atlantic Ocean long distance that has enabled me to denormalize the inequality I grew completely blind to training challenging everything I took for granted, to ironically understand how my own family sometimes doesn't find me familiar. It's all the women I have transformed to in this decade of being abroad and adrift and at home. Chapter 4 is very intimate. It's nobody's business, and still a residue of each one of those interactions. It's my digging very deep to find tenderness and spontaneity on a context that sometimes doesn't really encourage any of them. Chapter 4 shines light on how I find my relatives frozen in time, and how they are simultaneously missing out on my growing up, how endearing it is that they still marvel at me saying something in different languages, and they still push me forward to speak as if it were a dance contest. Say something in German. Not only that, but how I am too missing out on their growing down, and how I haven't found a way so far to feel less guilty, or come up with a serious project for teletransportation. I told you, I'm not an IT genius. I am writing this text along with at least 20 million people on a strike for my country. You know all Pablo Escobar relatives? We're all striking. For nothing but the acknowledgement of our most fundamental rights. Sorry. I am writing this text as I study for the Einbürgerungstest, which took place 2 hours ago. I told you, today was an important day for me. And you should know, I didn't manage to make sense of the intricate differences between the Bundestag, Bundesrat, Bundesversammlung and Bundesverfassung. So what you see right in front of you, it's a depiction of all there is to say about mixed feelings and countries and realities and languages and Bundes. For it's very likely I will have to give my Colombian citizenship up. Why will I answer when I am back in chapter 1 and I am asked where I am from? Why will I say when the future stranger doesn't need to hear a dissertation about where my passport was issued? I will answer where it is I live and where I was born and where is the Asian shop where I buy my flowers on Saturday mornings and where I pay my Rundfunkbeitragrechnungen and where I am angemeldet, and where most of my favorite humans in the world live. 2 of them happen to be here tonight. Where I feel local, as well as the embassy I will need to go to apply for a visa for to go visit my baby nephew.
Where are you really from? I mean, you don't look very German. Are you sure you're not Turkish?
Yes, I am. And I have come to very good terms to accepting that I will never be clear with der, die, das, den, dem, denen. So I will wonder, how come it is that I don't look German, that I don't sound German, and at the same time I am not allowed to be Colombian anymore? And if there's still some time in the midst of this interaction, and the person hasn't yet fled from my honesty, or has given me a that was completely unnecessary information type of look, I'll try to summarize this transitory stop of my life, made up of 3 visa extensions and a citizenship, of what my life has turned out to be on international waters. Thank you. Fragen auf Deutsch. Okay, falls jemand diese Einbürgerungstest schreiben will, habe ich sehr gute Tipps. Danke.